Hello everybody. Today we will be working on a Canon AE-1 and I would like to talk about one specific process with this camera, and this will be a correct removal of the ASA slash speed dial that is connected to the tungsten wire that holds the contacts on this side here. So a lot of times I see that these cameras come in with snapped or broken contacts, and sometimes the tungsten wires, and depending on who's using this camera or trying to repair this camera, if they don't know the proper process, this will actually snap and damage this assembly. So I have a camera here that has been deliberately disassembled to speed up the process. So what we'll do is take you through the steps of properly addressing the removal of the speed dial. So first we'll remove this cover here with the C-clamp. Okay. As you can see, our assembly, the ASA assembly, is actually here. As I'm moving my shutter speed dial, it also moves along with it because it's connected with a wire. But in any case, let's go ahead and remove our winding lever. Winding plate. And now we're to the point when we're ready to disassemble this side. So now we want to be careful. I cannot just go ahead and remove this washer here, okay? Because as soon as I remove it and take out, or attempt at least to take out this dial, it will actually unwind itself, because this entire assembly is being held by a spring that's wound, okay, around itself and through this contact. So what I want to do is reduce the tension as much as possible before I even attempt to remove it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll set this dial all the way down to B, okay, and I will set this ASA portion of the dial to 3200 ASA. Okay, this will be the least amount of tension this spring will have when you're ready to remove this dial. So at this point now, I'm ready to remove this washer here, unscrew it. All right, put it away. And now what I have to do is carefully, okay, carefully remove this dial, okay? And you heard it snap, okay? Now this is the least amount of snap you will ever hear, okay, from this camera. All right, and now I'll put this guy away here. I'm ready to remove the top cover. I think I've got all the screws out. I'll go ahead and help myself here with a little force. And maybe here as well. All right, now our top cover is out. So here's our assembly here. Okay, you can see that I'm moving this dial and it's moving my ASA contacts along with it. Okay, so now that I've safely removed it, I can go ahead and proceed and do whatever I was gonna do with the camera. Okay, what I do want to do also a lot of times, since it's probably the safest way to prevent this assembly from snapping and unwinding itself. As you can see here, this tungsten wire goes around these washers here, okay, wheels if you will, and wraps itself around this section. So if I take this assembly out, it'll still unwind a little bit, okay? So now what I can do, if I'm looking to clean up this set of contacts which controls shutter speed, I can easily remove it. And with with the solvent clean the contacts here as well as on the connector. Okay, now that they have been cleaned, I'll go ahead and put it back in place carefully, drop it, and then extend this lever, put it back and set it to B. Okay, now to be able to put this wire back, what I need to do is wrap this tungsten wire around this copper nut, okay, or screw, whatever you want to call it, once here, and there's a little notch around this wheel, and I'll have to position it this way. Okay, now there's always a tension here, okay? As you can see, it goes back and forth. Okay, so what I need to do is wrap this wire around this wheel twice before I start positioning the wire in its proper place. So I'll go ahead and go one cycle and then one more cycle. Now it's got good proper tension. Okay, now I'll go ahead and hold this wire and kind of guide it around these orange wheels. These are basically guiding wheels or washers, or whatever you want to call them. I'll position this portion of the assembly carefully on top of this little winding terminal, if you will. Okay, now it's sitting well, it's back in its original spot. Now to be able to put this back, I'll keep it in the same original setting, which is basically 3200, and my setting here is still B, okay, or bulb. What I'll have to do is, you'll see that there's a little protrusion or a hole here, and if I flip it around, you'll see that there's also a little a notch or extension here on the connector. I'll have to mate it between here and there, okay, and insert it first. Once I insert it, it's in position. Now I have to turn my wheel here until it reaches B, and once it reaches B, it'll actually sit itself into that connector, and you should be able to hear it as I move it. Boom, now it's in there. Now what I can do is, if I'm moving along and repairing my camera, I can go ahead and secure it temporarily here. Okay, and go about my business working on the rest of the camera. Now if I'm ready to put it all back together, okay, put the top cover and properly secure it on the top cover, I'll go ahead and remove it again. Now assuming that I'm done with the camera and putting everything back, I'll go ahead and put my top cover back. I'll go ahead and put one screw just to keep my top cover down, okay, so it doesn't move up, as you see it here. And I'll repeat the process. It's going to be a little bit trickier because you have a little more obstacles now with the top cover and its sides here, so, but the process is still the same. I'll have to mate this with that. I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, it's seated well in there. Now I start turning that counterclockwise until it reaches B. Boom, and it's fully seated now. Okay, so what I'll do next, I'll secure it with this screw down washer. It goes clockwise. Now that it's in place, I can go ahead and rotate it and set my dial to any ASA or ISO setting that I'd like. And as I go here, you'll notice that my ASA wheel here is also fully rotating along with it. Okay, so this is basically more of a preventative video for those of you who are looking to do it yourself. Be wary of this particular. This is the most dangerous spot, and I've seen a lot of my clients that have attempted to repair the camera, and when they got into this point, either completely snapped or they weren't able to reassemble it for one reason or another, but so be careful with that. So once it's all done, you should be able to reassemble the camera, and that should do it for us for this video. Thank you for watching.